I don't think I have said the word Nosh as many times in 72 hours as I have this week. And we are all talking about Nosh because of the experience of a Montreal restaurant that has the word Nosh in its name and how this restaurant has run afoul of the language inspectors. Here to tell us the story is the co-owner of Arthur's Nosh Bar, Raegan Steinberg. Raegan, thanks for joining us on CJAD.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Tell us where it all started for Arthur's Nosh Bar in St. Henri.
A long time ago. No, I'm just kidding. With the OQLF or just like the restaurant's inception?
With the OQLF.
Well, this most recent scenario began on Tuesday. We just got a warning in the mail about a complaint that was filed against us.
And that said that I assume that someone had complained, that someone with a, time on their hands walked by your window, saw a word that they didn't associate with the French language, and then filed a complaint.
Precisely.
And the warning said what to you? It has to come down?
It says you're non-compliant with the law that has been passed in July 2025, where the majority of the signage, or otherwise 75% of the signage, needs to be in the French language.
So paint the picture for us, for people who haven't seen the photos of you in front of the restaurant. The up above it says Arthur's, and then down below on the windows in small text.
Yeah, up above in really big neon bright lights it says Arthur's without an apostrophe. It's just Arthur's. And then down below in very small writing, I think each letter might be 2 inches wide, it says Arthur's Nosh Bar. And then it says the exact same thing on the other window on the other side, Arthur's Nosh Bar.
And you ended up putting a statement online expressing it, I think a combination it's gone viral. I mean, people can understand your frustration as a business owner who's just trying to stay in business and serve good food.
I think this was just a culmination. I didn't anticipate it really having the legs that it did, but we had also just recently got a letter, actually not a complaint, by somebody who came into the restaurant, made a complaint about plastic cups that we had purchased prior to the ban that we were still cycling through, and we got targeted for that. And then this happened, and I was like, it's just enough. If enough, I felt like exasperated.
Since then, of course, I think you've been interviewed a lot of times.
A couple, yeah.
Yeah, just a couple. Your reaction to what you're hearing in terms of feedback, has it been on both sides? Well, why don't you just comply, or no, stick to your guns?
I would say that an alarming amount has been like, stick to your guns, like, this is part of culture, this is part of Montreal's culture. How far does this go? Do we start looking at the word taco, sushi, manga, because these were all words that were adapted into the English language that were not necessarily English words, like the word yacht, nosh, for example, that all have cultural significance and aren't really translatable into French. So, and then there's a few people, the negative voices always speak loudly, but just saying, you don't like it here, get out of town. This is the problem with Anglophone community. They won't, the law is the law, blah, blah, blah.
One of our commentators, who is Jewish, said that this landing at this time in this city, with everything the Jewish community has been dealing with in recent months in terms of being targeted and firebombed and, on and on and on, it leaves a real sour note. It adds insult to the injury. Do you think that
I'm trying not to look at it as a Jewish or non-Jewish thing. I'm really hoping that this is based solely on the fact that it's a language situation and not based on my culture or my religion. And so I really kind of didn't want it to become that. So although, I appreciate the support and the sentiment, I'm hoping that that's really not what this is stemming from.
What have you decided to do, Raegan?
I haven't decided to do anything yet. I'm still pondering and seeing what my options are. And I mean, they don't really give clear guidelines as what to do. It's more like either add a huge French word or erase one of the noshes, because then if you only had one nosh, then you would be compliant. I need to see legally if the fact that I'm trademarked and that's my trademark name, and trademarks are not don't necessarily need to be changed under the Quebec law. I don't know how that applies to signage, so I have a little research to do.
I'm going to ask you to back up a sec because I'm trying to get my head around because language, they're labyrinth. The language laws, it's not just a sense of getting out the ruler like we used to talk about Inspector Clouseau with the ruler measuring the size of the English. You're saying that if you remove one of the two noshes, you would be compliant.
Yes, because then I would have bar twice, which is French, and nosh once, which is English, and then I would be 75% compliant.
This is nutty.
But that's not my name. I'm not Arthur's Bar. I'm not a bar in that sense of the word, and I don't want to mislead clientele or my brand or anything like that.
It's just so bizarre to be talking about this. So bizarre.
And I want to be clear that I'm super pro preserving the French culture. I've always been a proud Montrealer. I told the Gazette earlier, I'm a fourth generation Canadian. My grandmother's from Quebec City. My grandfather's from Joliette. I am not here to try to reduce the significance of preserving and saving the French culture. As I said previously, I don't think this is the best way. I think if you want people to love French and support the French language and build on that, I think you have to make it a positive thing and not a negative thing. I think we have to, lift up instead of bring down.
Is the restaurant otherwise compliant with the language legislation? Have you had any complaints about items on your menu or anything like that?
No, our menu is completely bilingual. My staff is completely bilingual. We greet you with bonjour, hi.
So one nosh has brought the OQLF.
One 4-inch nosh. And then we're bringing the whole city down. But I'm really happy to see that so many people are on my side and that other people find it as crazy and ridiculous as I do. And I'm so amazed at the legs that this has. It just goes to show the power and the voice of the people. You can kind of make a difference as one tiny little person.
I understand you haven't decided which way you're going to go yet, but there's an easy way. You could just put a piece of tape over one of the noshes and
I won't do that,
and I understand. There's an easy way, there's a hard way. So you're leaning toward one of the other ways.
I'm not leaning towards hard. I mean, I don't want to be dealing with this for the next decade, or God willing, 10 decades, as long as Arthur's will exist. So I am really just going to contemplate and do my due diligence. I'm going to speak to some lawyers. A lot of people have offered to help me pro bono and see what my rights are.
Yeah, so that you can make an informed decision. I get that.
Exactly.
Have you seen any uptick in business since this story broke?
No.
I hope you do, because
I wish.
that's another way to support a business that has to deal with, the bureaucracy. Because if you set aside the language question, this is also just government bureaucracy, right? It's paperwork. It's getting notices in the mail. It's like saying, oh, you're,
That's another thing to add to your plate for sure that I
exactly. So
already had a full plate.
So go Nosh at Arthur's Nosh Bar.
Thank you.
All right. Raegan Steinberg, thanks very much for your time.
Have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
Hi.
Pride is like love. You feel it in your heart. iHeartRadio, Canada's #1 streaming app for radio and podcasts, including iHeart Pride Canada, your favorite hits, and must-have party bangers, plus personalized and curated playlists like Back in the Day Pride.
Come together, celebrate love.
Take Pride with you, anytime, anywhere. Just ask your smart speaker to play iHeart Pride Canada. Stream us on your phone or listen now at iHeartRadio.ca.